If a little green is good, more is even better. Now, back to Green is Good with John Shigarian and Mike Brady.
Welcome back to Green is Good, and we're so excited and so honored to have Jay Whelan on the phone with us from Connecticut on the other side of the country. Welcome to Green is Good, Jay Whelan. We're so excited that you're joining the Green is Good revolution today.
Thank you very much, guys.
Nah, seriously, Jay, you have an amazing biography, and I don't want to fill up the airwaves with all of it, but tell our listeners a little bit about what you did prior to founding the Green Revolution.
Sure. Prior to the Green Revolution, I was a partner in a very large consulting firm called Accenture. I left Accenture after a 20-year tenure there and started a environmental group in the town that I live in, Ridgefield, Connecticut, working with the mayor in town to help develop the town's environmental agenda and policies. And I was awarded Governor Jody Rell's Environmental Leadership Award in 2008 based on the work that I did for the town here.
And so where was your epiphany? Where everyone always loves to hear our visionary ecopreneurs say, where was that epiphany? Because you are at a huge firm and a very successful firm, Accenture. Where was that moment that you said, I want to do something different and I want to leave a great legacy? When did that happen to you and why?
That was, I actually had a shoulder injury, and I was working out, doing some physical therapy on one of the hand crank machines.
Yep.
And I would stand there for 30 minutes looking out into the parking lot, watching the cars go by, and just thinking to myself, I wish there was something useful I could be doing while doing this. And I thought of different ideas, and the one idea I came up with is, why not, create electricity? I was already in the environmental game. I knew that to get rid of or get off of some of these fossil fuels was very important, and looking at different ways to create clean, renewable energy, then that kind of sparked the idea, and we went through a number of iterations to figure out what was the best way to capture that kind of that human or the personal energy. And we landed on our first product, which is the indoor cycle bikes. And for our listeners out there that are in front of a computer or have an iPad or something, and Mike is in front of it right now, and I looked at it earlier today, your website, beautiful website, egreenrevolution.com. Explain a little bit what your technology is and what your business model is. Sure. What we do is we capture energy that people expend when they're working out at their gyms or the local health clubs, and we create electricity out of that. And that electricity is then transformed to go right into the building's power grid so that as people are working out, they're actually powering the lights and the TVs and a lot of the equipment that's in the building.
This reminds me of like sort of like a collision of the Flintstones and the Jetsons. Wait. Wait a second. Seriously, Jay, this is a revolution. So you're saying there are health clubs now that can be powered by the bikes that are actually within the stationary bikes within the health clubs. That
is correct. We have one club in Orange, Connecticut called Go Green, and they are carbon neutral. It's a spin-only studio, and their members create enough electricity to offset all the electricity that is used in that building.
So what year did you develop this concept and business model and technology?
The concept started in the spring of 2007.
Okay.
And this was my first kind of new product development, a new company.
Okay.
So within 6 months, I actually had the product up and running and putting power out to the grid.
Wow.
But then it took another year and a half to perfect it, to make sure that it looked good, that it was safe, that it felt very good. We hired indoor cycle instructors to try our product and give us feedback. So it was really the fine-tuning took of the lion's share of the actual effort and dollars, quite honestly.
So now that you've evolved it and you've gone obviously just like all technology from 1.0 to 2.0, now you're obviously you sound like you're really sort of getting really set and happy with what you've got. How does the technology work?
The technology, all it does is takes the energy that is expended from people, and it creates basically DC, 12-volt DC, and we convert that to energy that's utility grade. It's much the same way that solar and wind works. We use a lot of off-the-shelf technologies for the conversion. We didn't want to develop anything new. What we feel our strong point is actually the metrics around people's workout, that they can see how many watts they generate. They can then see how much carbon they've offset on their footprint per workout. And we've found that that is extremely, everyone comes out of the class and says, I feel very productive. Not only did I get a great workout, but I actually felt like I did something good for the earth.
How cool is that? So you're there and you're spinning, and you're spinning your wheels to a really good purpose. You're seeing your heart rate, looking at that, oxygen saturation. Okay, that's good. Calories burned. Oh, carbon reduction, even better. Now, let me ask you this, Jay. John and I are wondering, you are generating the electricity through the spins, but how about storage?
What we do is we actually put the electricity straight into the gym. There's two reasons we do that. One is the storage is actually very inefficient. You lose a lot of energy in storing batteries and releasing the stored energy. But the other thing is we wanted it seamless for the club owner. We didn't want them to have to worry about, are my batteries too full? Are they too low? As soon as we put it directly into the building's power grid, we don't have to have any on-site management at all. And we have all remote monitoring software so that we can see each of our sites and how they're doing.
And you know what's so cool, Mike and Jay? Sometimes, this is just another great example of an entrepreneur just reinventing, making a better mousetrap. I mean, and you just hit your head and say, why wasn't this being done so long ago? You know?
That was one of the things that I really struggled with when I first got started. Is I was waiting for that aha moment where, there was a reason that this couldn't be done, and I was going to one day hit that and say, aha, here's why no one's done it before. And I can honestly say I never hit that moment. And I would have to attribute it to a couple of things. One is just the whole environmental background that the technology is really picking up in that space.
Sure.
But I also think I brought more of a business kind of savvy to it.
Okay.
And I really wasn't the garage hobbyist that was just putting together things with duct tape and chicken wire. It was really setting up focus groups, making sure that what I was developing, because it was my own money going into this endeavor, that it was right on with what the gyms wanted, and we did a lot of focus groups to find that out.
So what other benefits does your technology offer?
We have we're going to expand our product line so that it will work on all aerobic equipment, and so that what we're trying to do is get each of the gyms to be carbon neutral. And so with the ellipticals and Stairmasters and rowers and treadmills, all those get hooked up. There's also an education process that goes on within health clubs about, have you thought about putting solar panels on your roof, or, using some hot water collectors to offset a lot of the energy use there. And we're seeing that the health club industry is becoming more and more open to those suggestions and ideas. I think, they're a pretty high energy use clubs, typically with the saunas and all the other equipment that they've got running. So it does help out. And
also many hours of being open and some inefficiencies that happen from all that.
Yes.
Hey, so wait a second. So do you already have, I'm on an elliptical every day. I love my elliptical machine. Do you already have a beta or a version of an elliptical that uses your technology?
Yes, we have betas in the labs for all of the aerobic equipment. And the business model we're running right now is we are focused primarily on the indoor cycle bikes, and that we will roll out these other aerobic equipment as the market matures. And we didn't want to be all things to all people with limited resources for a new company. We wanted to make sure that we got it right off the bat.
So again, I don't want to jump the gun, because I want to go back and talk about when you first started talking to clubs about this. But you're saying that eventually even our listeners out there and the consumers at large will be able to buy a bike or an elliptical for their home or their office use, and you don't have to even go to a club to use your great technology. That will happen eventually as you mature with this company.
I have a bike where my son plays video games.
Yeah.
And when I want to teach him a lesson, I plug it in where he's got to actually cycle before he can play. So that does exist, yes.
Send me one of those, please. So how does it? So talk about day one. Let's go back to 2007, because everyone always loves to hear the journey, the entrepreneur climbing up the mountain. How did it go when you first started proposing this to your local gyms or even the bigger chains? How was the reception then, and what is happening now? Where are you in the negotiation process with some of the bigger chains and some of even the regional chains with your technology now that it's being more accepted?
Yes. I think what we found is First of all, everyone loves the idea. It's very cool. And the one thing, there was a big kind of learning curve for a lot of the gyms because you say, well, you create electricity, it goes right in the building's grid, and everyone says, okay, yeah, I get that. That makes sense. And then they say, but how exactly does it work? And so now you're in this, it isn't typical treadmill or another piece of weight equipment that they're used to dealing with. It's a brand new technology. It's almost a brand new industry that we're starting right now.
Right.
And so there is a very large education piece up front.
Sure.
We're seeing that now as we're getting out into the market more and more, especially with some of the larger gyms, that we don't have to educate as much because, in fact, one of our more recent clients, which is big in the Northeast, is New York Sports Club and Washington Sports Club.
Sure.
They have implemented our technology, and that right there gave us instant credibility in the health club market because as soon as you say you're installed there, then people know you're real. So that's helped out quite a bit.
Right. So do you feel that even the national chains will one day adopt your new technology?
Yep, we're in discussions with a number of national chains right now, and they were very far down the path of just talking through timings and rollouts. So we're very comfortable with that. The other space that has really picked up a lot of interest that we really haven't gone after yet, and we're starting to think about it now, is the university space. There's a lot of universities, there's a lot of initiatives that the students actually run on campuses that want to install our technology. So we're getting a lot of inquiries from the university space, and we just did one university in the Boston area. I can't mention the name, but it is a very, very, very famous Ivy League school, and they just implemented our technology too.
Well, so it's funny you said that. Mike and I have been so lucky to have Narit Katz on recently, our show. Narit's the sustainability coordinator at UCLA, and she educated our listeners and Mike and I about the whole movement towards sustainability for all the universities. So I think that would be a very, very viable market for you.
Yes, it is.
So, so what other future products? So you're saying ellipticals, treadmills, the rowing machines, almost everything in the gym eventually will be able to avail itself of your technology.
That's correct. Yeah.
So so now let's talk about a great elliptical or a great bike. Is installing can you retrofit your technology into that bike, or does it have to be made from day one with your technology?
It's retrofitted. That was one of the biggest things that the focus groups came out with is we don't want to have to buy all new equipment. And if you have something that can attach to what I already have in my gym, then I'll buy it. So what we have for all of the major bike manufacturers, we have a model that fits each one of them.
Wow. So so you could retrofit it on. So it really is an incremental cost as opposed to creating a whole new cost structure for gym owners.
That's correct. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
So, how did when you go back to the entrepreneur and the ecopreneur that you are back in 2007, given that you've had a tremendous business background for 20 years at Accenture, how did you write the business plan and put the money together for this thing?
I still chuckle because you need to be kind of dumb to do these things because if I was smart enough to know what I was getting into, there's no way I would have gotten past day 2 of this venture. It's been fun the whole time, and I've loved it, but everything takes a lot longer and costs a lot more than you ever can imagine. So that's, I've gone through it with Accenture. I was lucky enough actually to leave Accenture after we IPO'd. So, I had some good capital backing myself, and I've got one other co-founder, and essentially between the two of us, we have financially backed the venture to date. We are looking for additional investors for the next round of capital raise for the growth that we're seeing. But so far to date, it's just been the two of us to be putting in all the capital.
And I don't want to give away any secrets or anything, but on your next round, if you want to discuss it, we can obviously discuss it. How much money you're going to be raising?
We're looking to raise $2 million on our next round.
Wow, gotcha.
We've put in about $1 million to date.
Wow.
Of our own personal funds.
So in other words, and again, this is very typical to the entrepreneur story. You have your own skin in the game. When they talk about skin in the game, you've got skin, hand, feet, head, heart, everything in this game, huh, Jay?
Yes.
So you're going to be raising more money, and you think that will get you to the next level?
It will help us increase our manufacturing because as we start to pull in some of these national accounts,
Right.
we are going to need to increase our manufacturing capacity quite a bit. Our product is manufactured in Massachusetts.
Oh.
We wanted to keep it in the USA. We didn't want any baggage with the environmental track record of China and some of the other lower-cost countries.
Right.
And over 90% of our raw materials are within 100 miles of the plant, so that we don't have a lot of shipping carbon associated with that as well.
Wonderful. So you're from the inside out. You're a green company, and your DNA is green.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So a couple things. Let's step back, and for our listeners out there that want to see Jay's great site and learn more about the company, and even contact him if you're interested in investing in something of that nature. www.greenrevolution.com. Great name, great site. Mike's in front of it right now. Talk about, to say I'm the chairman of 24 Hour Fitness. Give me your top 5 reasons. And I never heard about you, but I saw you on CNN last week, or I heard you on Green is Good on the Clear Channel Radio Network. Tell me, Jay, convince me and convince our listeners, if we were gym owners now across America, why give us 2 to 3, 5 good reasons why we should be using your technology in our gym.
Sure. Well, the primary one that we hear in all the gyms is the members love the technology. They love spinning and feeling very productive about their workout. We have seen in most of our customers a very large increase in the number of people using their facility. We had one customer that actually at one point was adding 2 classes a week because of the PR that they got locally, and people were just coming into the gym, and he couldn't actually hire trainers fast enough and add classes fast enough to meet the demand.
Wow.
So that's the biggest thing that our technology offers, is a real differentiator from the club down the street that doesn't have our technology.
Sure.
And the members just love it. So if there's a gym owner out there that is concerned about member satisfaction, differentiating their gym from the one down the street, then this is the technology that does that.
Gotcha. And, I have to tell you the truth. If it's the same price and I had a choice of joining a gym that had your technology and a gym that was local also that didn't have it, I would join the gym that has it for all the reasons you just mentioned. Lower energy, but greener place, and you feel better about yourself, not only physically when you walk out, but emotionally, and also that you're leaving a better carbon footprint.
That's exactly right.
It's brilliant. I just think, now talk about competitors. Do you have a lot of competitors out there?
We really don't. We have there's one competitor called ReRev, and they work only on the Precor elliptical. And what they do is they take the existing generator that's inside the machine, and they just suck off any additional power that's produced. Right. But it really isn't a game-changing method right there. What we're trying to do is really change it so that the people are producing energy. And we're getting in there, and we're just trying to get every watt possible out of them with our metrics and tracking and talking about the reduction in carbon footprint. We are really differentiating ourselves.
And who was I know it was your idea and you're the visionary, but who was your actual technological engineer? Did you hire him? Was he a friend, a family member?
We started off with a friend and family member. And he and I kind of did the original just to make sure it was working. And we got that far. That was about as far as our capabilities could take us, and we realized right away that we needed professionals. So we hired a company called Gyre 9. It's Gyre, and then the number 9. And they've got a great staff of engineers. They've got electrical engineers, electronic engineers. They've got design engineers, software engineers. So it was really full-service engineering house. And they've really helped us take our product to the next level.
That is amazing. And how about international interest? Besides the United States, you're talking to many clubs across the U.S. How about the international interest level here?
In fact, there's probably more interest internationally than there is in the States right now in terms of demand. I just actually got off the plane about 2 hours ago from Vancouver, where we've got a number of sites up there in Canada. It's easy for us because it's the same energy. It's 110 volts. Wow. And for Europe, right now we're developing our European package and product, and we're in discussions with distributors in Europe based out of Germany, and they'll be taking our product internationally that way.
So talk about raising money. Raising money is both an art and a science. I've done it a lot of my life with business ventures. Talk about how's it gone when you've met with people. Are you trying to raise your next round of money from angels or from venture capitalists, or where are you going, and what's the response been like that?
Yep, we're in between, which is one of the problems, is because the VCs typically look for $5 million or more to invest in a company, and the angels generally go up to about $1 million, and we're kind of in between that with our $2 million raise. We also had the issue where we started a company in a very deep recession, and we tried to raise money in a deep recession, which are probably the two of the worst times to do either of those.
Right on.
But we've got still a number of active leads in terms of investors that are very interested.
Good.
And it's basically building that relationship with those people, and making sure that they trust you as a management team, that your vision is there. Obviously, as we win these national accounts, it's to them that we're in it to win it. So that really helps out. But it is, they're taking on a lot of risk. They want to do all their due diligence, and that's what we need to do, is just listen to some of their concerns and suggestions and be able to react to those, so that we show that we are responsive.
Hey, Jay, we're down to about the last 30 seconds or so, and we want you to leave our listeners with some of your any thoughts or pearls of wisdom or inspiration about being an ecopreneur and also a visionary that so they can become the next Jay Whelan.
Okay. One of the things that I would recommend, and I kind of had the luxury where I didn't have to do this, but there's a lot of grants out there and a lot of funding. I know a lot of people are kind of scared from starting their own business and becoming an ecopreneur because of the resources that it takes, but there is a lot out there, and I don't know if it's worth doing a show just on that in the future for you guys.
Could be.
But there is a lot of that. Take advantage of that. I was in a position where I didn't need it, and in hindsight, it probably would have helped me if I did tap into it right away. But that is don't be scared. If you love what you're doing, you're going to find a way to make it happen.
Don't be scared. I love that motto. Listen, for all listeners out there, go to Jay's great site, egreenrevolution.com, for all of our investors. Contact Jay, invest in his company, and also for all the people out there that own gyms or go to gyms, tell them about Jay's great technology and about his website. Jay Whelan, you're a visionary ecopreneur. You've put a new spin on the green revolution, and you are living proof that green is good.